Why do I need to learn it when I've got you to do it? That's what she actually said to me. Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well and that you had a great week. To all of my house guests, as you can see, I'm in the car. So grab yourselves a drink and make yourselves comfortable. If you're passing by and you'd like to become a house guest, don't forget to hit subscribe and activate all of your notifications. I'm Chez, this is Chez M0i. Welcome to my place. On what was dubbed the hottest day of the year so far in London, my evening was spent celebrating the graduation of my friend's 11-year-old daughter, and interestingly, this modest gathering took place in the grounds of Kensington Palace. As the wolf moon rose in the sky while proceedings were coming to a close, I started to think about how much progression this young girl has made in the few years I've known her. She's had to sit through a few uncomfortable lessons that life has timetabled for her, but she's overcome those challenges and graduated from someone who had a lot of self-doubt to someone who's very happy and excited about her next chapter. And I observed a level of confidence and security that I don't see in many kids today. I relayed my observations to her parents, who are immensely proud of her, and I, like them, look forward to seeing even more progression as she embarks on a new phase while she transitions to high school. By contrast, there are some parents who seem to lack awareness or simply do not care about how they treat their children and how that treatment leaves an indelible mark, even into full adulthood. Listen to this insight from Tina Turner.
I was not kind. When I became a star, of course, like then she was happy because I bought her a house. I did all kinds of things for her. She was my mother. You know, I was trying to make her comfortable because she didn't have a husband. She was alone, but she still didn't like me. Even after I became Tina, Ma still was a little bit, who did that or who did this? And I said, I did it, Ma. You know, I was happy to show my mother what I did. I had a house, I had gotten a car, and she said, I don't believe it. Now, you're my daughter. I know you didn't something to this effect. You know, she didn't want me. She didn't want to be around me, even though she wanted my success. But I did for her as if she loved me.
Unfortunately, resentful parents are in abundance, and they inflict pain on their children. A further example of which is this individual, whose 80th birthday came and went without him receiving the one thing he yearned for, a call from his youngest daughter, Meghan. Since 2018, this man has had countless opportunities to learn lessons and potentially graduate to some semblance of a relationship with his youngest. However, because he has not been paying attention in class, Thomas Markle is destined to repeat the same grade year after year after year after year until he fully understands that if he continues to conduct himself in a reckless manner, he will never ever get what he wants. And even though Markle Sr. likes to laughingly equate himself to Charles, one thing both men have in common is an obnoxious sense of entitlement. Now, I'm sure some of you may remember what I like to call leaky pen gate. Do you remember that, guys? Where Charles couldn't hide his frustration when, back in 2022, his pen unexpectedly leaked while he was trying to sign an important document.
I just had to put, is it September the 12th?
13, sir.
Oh God, I'm the wrong date. 13?
Yes, sir.
You signed the 12th earlier.
Where did I put the 12th? I was something 10. Oh God, I hate this.
Oh, look, it's going everywhere. Hang on. So nobody got it wrong.
Where is the man?
Oh, look, it's everywhere.
There, this bloody thing. What do they do with every stinking
Many people gave him a pass and put it down to him grieving the loss of his mother. Here are Charles and Camilla in Jersey earlier this week, where he expressed his frustration as Camilla struggled to put her coat on. Here's Charles again, expressing frustration during the state opening of Parliament, where he himself appears to be experiencing some type of wardrobe malfunction. Let's be clear, guys, the same justification given for Leaky Pen Gate cannot be attributed to these two incidents during the last few days. So in front of our very eyes, it is evident that this man is somewhat of a bully to his staff. Don't forget, this is the same label the establishment wanted to attach to Meghan, and to date, I've not seen or heard anything about this detailed report regarding Meghan supposedly bullying her staff when she and Harry were still under the confines of the firm. As always, however, I defer to the greater knowledge of my house guests, so if any of you have information about this elusive report, please put the link down in the comment section below for me. In a few videos on my channel, I've included clips of people on social media conveying their personal interactions with Meghan, all of which have been consistently positive. And these testimonials are no exception. In 21st century Britain, we are currently experiencing a problem with our water supply in various regions, where raw sewage, environmental waste and toxic chemicals are being dumped in our rivers. But the water companies still hike the prices up and still expect us to pay without question. Wildlife cannot thrive in that environment. Fish continually die in that environment, and the health of human beings living near these bodies of water are adversely affected to the point of hospitalization. It didn't take long for Meghan and Harry to learn that in order to survive and thrive in life, they had to leave a heavily polluted environment and change their location. And to see that Meghan can now experience the luxury of relative anonymity, enjoying a life free from intimate intrusion to a greater degree, and feel safe, is something that other public figures would give their right arm for. Now, I personally think that this is why many people in the UK had a hard time believing that Meghan didn't know who Harry was prior to meeting him, because the UK still thinks it has an influence on the global stage, and woe betide anyone who has zero knowledge of the British royal family. In my mind, it's perfectly feasible to believe Meghan when she says she didn't know who Harry was. Because, newsflash people, the British royal family is not as relevant as they would have you believe. I would hazard a guess that most Americans are dealing with issues and concerns in their own country and don't see the need to be concerned with what goes on elsewhere. When it comes to lessons learned, Harry and Meghan's relocation can be viewed as a graduation because they had to pass various tests in order to progress. This is why it's pointless to assume or even hope that Harry will ever come back to live in the UK of his own volition. The Sussexes have had to pay too much of a heavy price in order to live the lives they live now. And once you understand that, you'll understand why the British establishment's agenda is to throw everything at this couple to break them apart. Because to break them apart is to weaken them, and the establishment can only be strong when they eliminate a perceived threat. It is crystal clear to me, guys, that the firm will never graduate from where they are, because they are still repeating the same mistakes they made decades ago. Okay guys, so but these are just a few observations that I made. That Tina Turner clip. When you see such a strong woman, I mean, I find people so interesting because you never know their story until you actually pay attention. So that Tina Turner clip was an eye-opener for me. I knew she had a strained relationship with her mum, but I didn't, you know, it's not until I saw that clip that I kind of understood a bit more. And it's this thing of seeking approval from a parent who you know disapproves of you, basically. And this is the dilemma I believe that Harry finds himself in, constantly trying to seek the approval of his dad. And I get it, I understand. I mean, imagine, I guess for some of you don't need to imagine because this is what you've had to deal with, the knowledge that one or both of your parents never wanted you. It's well documented. Diana made it known that Charles was disappointed when Harry was born simply because he wasn't a girl. Psychologically, that has to do something to you. So it would have taken a lot of strength and a lot of courage to go against his dad to make the move that he did when Harry and Meghan couldn't take it anymore, basically. But you know what? Sometimes you just have to make difficult decisions for the sake of your mental health and for your well-being in general. And judging by recent photos that I've seen of Harry and Meghan, they are healthy, they are happy, they are whole. Despite what's, you know, going on in the background. By contrast, on this side of the pond, other members are not healthy, they are not happy, and they are not whole. Charles is a person who, let me give you an example, because this is what I find with people who are septuagenarians, octogenarians, that whole age range. We are all, you know, to a certain extent set in our ways, but those ages, it's like you can't tell them what to do. There are exceptions, however. I recall an experience I had with a boss that I'd worked for about 10 years. Not IT literate at all. She was the business owner, but she had no interest in knowing about IT, Excel, all the Microsoft suite. No interest. But she actually said, to me, why do I need to learn it when I've got you to do it? That's what she actually said to me. And this is the mindset that is prevalent in society. People that are unwilling to learn, people that are unwilling to change and adapt, and then they wonder why their life is so hard. For Charles, who by all accounts, if you listen to the account of Paul Burrell when he used to be Charles and Diana's butler, I think it was, servant anyway. Burrell was in one room and Charles was in another room where the bin was right next to him, and I think there was a piece of paper on the floor. So he rings the bell and Burrell comes in and, you know, asks what he wants in the way that butlers do. And he says, Charles says to him, can you pick up that piece of paper and put it in the bin? And it's like, well, you could have done that yourself. Like, you know, I'm sure Burrell didn't say that, but the idea is you could have done that yourself. Why did you need to call me, take me away from my duties to come and pick up a piece of paper that you're nearer to? And this is what I'm talking about, sense of entitlement. This man has his clothes laid out for him ever since he was a child. I've referenced the Tudors before, but there's this thing called the groom of the stool. And basically you have someone to, let me try and be as diplomatic as possible. They attend to your toilet needs, okay? Even down to the wiping. And that's why people were keen to have that job, because if you're going to allow someone to do that to you, you're going to share your secrets with them, because that's like, without having intercourse, that's the most intimate thing you could do for someone, to wipe them, okay? Try not to be crude, but you get the gist. So, you know, all of this, having everything done, you know, toothpaste put on the toothbrush, all of these things, you're never going to get Charles to change his ways, because this is what he knows. Not making excuses for him, but I'm trying to understand why he is how he is. Harry has seen all of this and he's adopted the mindset of, this does not make sense, not in the 21st century, and I don't want my kids to grow up like this. So I hope that, you know, I can kind of see Harry is getting to the stage where he's like, well, I'm never going to get my dad's approval, so what's the point? Let me just live my life. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him. When it comes to Thomas Markle now, I've always wondered why, when I'm preparing these videos and when he becomes part of the conversation, I always wonder why there are periods where you hear nothing from this man, and then all of a sudden he pipes up. He's always got something to say. He's always trying to find an excuse to keep his name in the public consciousness. And my theory, you know, it's a bit out there, but my theory is that Meghan is providing for him, you know, in terms of paying his medical bills or attending to his needs as and when necessary. I think she's doing that. So he has to be very careful, because he can't, you know, I've always found it interesting that he's never said, not as far as I know, he's never said that his needs are not met when it comes to his, if he, you know, has bad health. He's never said that his needs are not met. And I don't imagine, as a, you know, fully retired person who's unable to work, that he's able to do that himself. So you can see why from time to time he will, you know, is willing to talk, because he knows he's going to get paid. So he wants to supplement what he already has. So Meghan, in my mind, she's paying his medical bills as and when. She's meeting his financial needs as and when. But that's not enough for him, because he wants more. That's not enough. It's not enough that she does that. It's like, I want your attention. I want your attention. And this is why he made a big song and dance about his 80th birthday. Narcissism. Narcissistic parents. There are loads of them. And it's really sad. Yeah, this guilt tripping periodically. So Meghan cannot do right for doing wrong. You'll hear what, as far as he is concerned, as far as Thomas Markle is concerned, you'll hear what Meghan is not doing, but you'll never hear what she is doing for him. This is what I think in my mind anyway, because that's the only thing that makes sense to me. And you know, with this thing of you know, the Instagram post where the person working at the garden centre or the nursery you know, was helping her to buy plants and stuff, and he had no clue, that person had no clue who she was, and he had to Google her. Every opportunity her detractors say, oh, you know, she loves to be the centre of attention, you know, I thought she wanted her privacy. The fact that she didn't even let on who she was speaks volumes. The fact that this person had to Google her to see, you know, because his boss, the person's boss, said, oh, do you know who that is? She didn't say that. You know, as far as she's concerned, she's just going to the garden centre to buy her plants. She's a private citizen, not in the capacity of a celebrity, not in the capacity of a royal family member. She's just going about her business. Do you honestly think that she could do that here? No way. She would never be able to do that in the UK. And that's why it's imperative for them to stay where they are, just to have some semblance of a normal life. It's all relative. I just find it funny, and that's why I said she can enjoy a degree of anonymity, because it is a luxury for these guys, I suppose. You know, how can people say that Meghan wants to be the centre of attention when you hear accounts like that? And you know, if you're the person who, you know, continues to say, oh, she wants to be the centre of attention, I thought she wanted her privacy. If you cannot recognise that the pursuit of Meghan is what draws attention to Meghan, then with respect, maybe your IQ level is less than rudimentary. Guys, if your thoughts were provoked in any way, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet become a house guest, don't forget to hit subscribe and activate all of your notifications. I want to take this opportunity to thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and you shall catch me in the next video.